Everybody, today we're going to answer the question on Mailbag Monday. What the heck is on-page SEO? Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't, but today you're going to get an introduction and actually get some understanding of what is meant by on-page SEO. Welcome to Traffic Keys. My name is Atiba, and if you are a business owner looking to drive more organic traffic to your website, more eyeballs on your website, then you are in the right place. I've been doing this for over 15 years, and my entire goal right now, my mission is to teach you everything that I know. And today we're going to be starting a conversation about on-site SEO. Now, before we jump into on-site SEO, first, let me also say hello to everyone in podcast land, everybody on Facebook, everybody on YouTube. If you need to find me on any of those platforms, you can look me up at Traffic Keys. I'm Traffic Keys on every single platform. All right. And if you need to reach out to me, leave a comment. I will respond to you. If you're in podcast land, just send me an email. hello@traffickeys.com. I actually check that myself, so I will respond to you. All right, so we're talking about on-page SEO. And as we look at on-page SEO, you're going to say, okay, why are you making a distinction of on-page SEO? Because there are actually three different types of SEO. The first is on-page SEO. Then you have off-page SEO and technical SEO. Okay, three different buckets of SEO. And so if you're looking at hiring an SEO professional, then you need to understand which one of those buckets of services do they actually provide, because some of them don't do, like me. In our agency, we don't do technical SEO at all. We will tell you, we will diagnose it and tell you what's wrong, but we will not fix it. Other places, other people will do only on-page or off-page. Everybody does something slightly different. And so let's dive in and talk about what on-page SEO is. And to make it very simple for you, on-page SEO is everything that you see when you look at a web page. Okay? And I want you to hear me on that. I'll keep saying a web page and not a website, because a website is a collection of pages. And so you can have one page on your website that the SEO, the on-page SEO is great, and all the rest of them are crap, and vice versa, and any combination in between. So on-page SEO refers to and is needed on every single page of your website. All of them. Do not skip a single one of them. All right. So we're going to touch on a couple different areas of on-page SEO today, but I also wanted to tell you that down below, I've linked an article from my friends over at Backlinko. They wrote an in-depth article. When I say in-depth, like seriously, take a day off and read that thing. I think it's like 5 or 6 chapters. It's a blog post. It's 5 or 6 chapters. I mean, it's that big, but that's how big on-page SEO is. And so they go into a lot more detail than what we're going to go into today, and on a lot more different topics. And that's still not everything. Okay? That's still not everything for on-page SEO in that article, but it's going to take you a lot further. All right. So the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about today and share with you a little bit is headings. Actually, no, we're going to do titles first. Sorry. Look at my notes and understand what I'm talking about. We're going to do titles first. So what is your title? Page titles are vitally important. Okay. And I'm going to pull up, I hope, the site here. I'm sharing the screen, but it does not want to share. That's odd. Okay, so let me fix my technical issue with my screen. But we're going to talk about titles, and your page title is very important because number one, your page title is what Google shows. Okay. Sorry, this thing is acting up. Your page title is what Google shows in its search results to users who did a search for a keyword that are looking for you. All right. That's what hold on here. Let me see. Okay, I think I fixed it now. So your page title, again, is what Google shows. And let me see if I can, in your regular browser window, you don't actually get to see a page title very often because it's usually hidden up in the tab in the browser. And let me see. This is still acting up here. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to get this visual up for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. And this is just acting silly. Don't know why. Hold on. All right. Well, maybe we won't have a visual on that. Okay, so I'm going to keep trying to work on that while we continue talking. But your page title is what's up there in the tab. Okay, and it's very important that you name your page as well. That you name your pages, number one, with your keyword. Okay, your keyword should be near the front of the title of the page. Okay. Name your page as well so people know exactly what's going on, what you're talking about on this page, and so that Google knows exactly what you're talking about on this page. All right. The other side of page titles is you can be a little bit provocative, but don't go too far. You want your page title to be something that's interesting and not, about is an awful page title. Like, about what? Right. Whereas, the story of how it all began for my company. Awful page title as well. Nobody cares. Just being completely honest, right? So you want to come up with a page title that if someone did a search, what would they see that they read that will make them say, I want to click on that based on what you put there. Now, you have to deliver on your page title in your content. If you don't, users will get upset and leave, and Google will recognize that, and then they will stop listing your website, which, as we've talked about enough times, is what we don't want, because then you can't drive traffic. Okay. After your page title, okay, guys, the next thing, if you've seen this page here, let me make sure that this is up on the screen. And nope, it's not. There we go. Now we got it. All right. So the next thing is your headings. Okay, and you can have different levels of headings. Kind of like if you remember, for some of you, when you're using Microsoft Word, you can do an outline of your document and it has the formatting headings. Exactly the same thing happens here online. So if we're looking at this page here, and I just pulled up this random blog post, okay, from a random website. So I'm not endorsing this company or this blog post. But they have here, how to make money blogging in 2021. Well, that's also their page title, and it's also the heading of their page. If I was looking to make money in blogging in 2021, this would be a great page title for me because I would want to read this article. It speaks exactly to who I am. All right. Then they have a subheading here, the beginner's guide with 7 ways to monetize your blog. Right. This can also be a page heading, but smaller. So page headings come from, you can define them in heading 1 through heading 6. The larger the heading number, the smaller the font, the least important. And then you can nest them just like you would in an outline. Okay. Now, here's what these guys have done. You'll see here how to make money blogging in 2021. And then you see it repeated here. And you're going to ask, well, why did they repeat it? And there's a very simple reason. Because this guide here that they're showing us, this is actually an image. Okay? This is not actual text. It's an image. Google can't read that image. However, Google can read this text. So that's something that's very important. Back in the old days, and some people still unfortunately do that, in order to make your website look good, we encapsulated text in images because it would resize well, it will always look the way we want it, and we can get fancier with our fonts. The challenge with that is Google can't read it. So they wanted this image to look like this. Great. They also needed to repeat it in actual text that Google could read. All right. So again, very important to on-page SEO is this heading structure, knowing how your information on this page is nested. All right. So as we scroll down, we'll also see they have a funky, not funky, but really cool table of content here on the side that you can actually skip, just like you would in, say, a Google doc or a Word document. So this section here I found really interesting. 7 ways to make money blogging. This is great. This is a great infographic. But what can't Google do with this, guys? That's right. Google can't read this. Google has no idea. Well, they do have an idea, but they're going to pretend like they have no idea what this image says. So what does this company do? They repeat everything that was in that image in text so that the Google bot can read it easier. Not only did they do that, but then they also linked it to the sections as they talk about these different topics. Now you see here, number 1, affiliate marketing. Okay, fantastic. This is another heading, but this is a subheading. Okay, this is a subheading under the main topic of how to make money blogging in 2021. So my point here to you guys is this is how you have to start looking at your content when you're considering on-page SEO. Okay, it's not just putting the content on the page. It is the structure of that content. It's how it's laid out using the headings. And let me see if I can actually show you guys this really quickly here. Something else I wanted to show you today, but since these things are acting up, I don't know if I'll be able to. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So talking a little bit more about the headings, I want to show you this. So this shows the nesting of the headings here, right? Heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. And it's a hierarchical structure. Then if you went back to heading 2, then it indents out, if you will, right, in the hierarchical structure. This tells Google what's important and what's related to what in your article. And that's very important on your website, that you create this type of structure for your content. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk to you about today on page, which is probably the most important factor after your title, actually probably before your title, for on-page SEO is, and let me pause. Every page needs to focus on one keyword. Let me say that again. Every page needs to focus on one keyword. You should not attempt to rank a page for multiple keywords. You're going to have all kinds of problems doing that. Focus on one. Focus your content around that one keyword. What's going to end up happening there is, if you do it correctly, if you tell the story correctly, because remember, that's what this is all about. What you're trying to do on your website, on this web page, is tell a story that solves a problem or moves the needle into the direction of solving a problem for the reader. Okay? And that's what you want to do. And so you want to focus in on one keyword and one keyword only per page. Now, does that mean that that's the only keyword that page will rank for? No, it doesn't. As a matter of fact, I've ranked some pages for thousands of keywords, but they were only focused on one. And because we focused on that one and solving that one so well, Google started to recognize, oh, this is probably also related to this and this and this and this and this and this. And it just started collecting and collecting and collecting more and more keywords. But if you start off trying to rank this one page for 10 keywords, you are bound to fail, because you will not be able to effectively target that many keywords right up front. Heck, you can't even target 2 keywords unless you're really, really good at SEO and content writing for SEO. So focus on one keyword. Use that keyword multiple times. Use variations of that keyword multiple times. Okay. Describe and explain the keyword that relates to the problem that you're solving, but focus on that one keyword. That's my big lesson for you today with on-page SEO. Every single page needs to focus on one keyword. And that also means that if there are 5 keywords for this topic that you want to talk about, then you probably need 5 different pages, 5 different titles, because in the title, you should mention the keyword. You can't mention 5 keywords in one title. That's crazy. Okay? But you can mention one title in a keyword and in a heading and talk about it throughout and get that page to rank for that one keyword. And then write another page for the second keyword and the third keyword and the fourth keyword. And that brings me then to my final point today on talking about on-page SEO, and that is linking between pages and linking off of your site. So one of the other important things in on-page SEO is creating the structure or creating the reality that if you have content on your website that is related to each other, that you reference that content in every single page. And I'm not talking about a navigation link. That's not what I'm talking. Google knows what a navigation link is. I'm talking about referencing another piece of content almost by name. Say, hey, we wrote about this in this article. If you want to learn more about this topic, read this article, what have you. Okay. That's a very, very, very important factor in on-page SEO as well, is linking between the content pieces that you have written that are related to each other. And then the final one is if you have sources. If you have sources where you got information, if you have sources that validate what you say, if you have sources that add more and expound on what you were talking about, link to those in a natural way in the article as well. Google sees that. Number one, it adds to your reader, adds experience to your reader, because then they know, oh, you're quoting from National Geographic, or you're quoting from this science journal, or you're quoting from this well-known person. Okay, they see that and it adds credibility to you. But then Google also sees it and realizes that, all right, you're getting your information from trusted sources that you're talking about. So we're going to trust you a little bit more than we would somebody else who said the same thing but had no links to other people who were talking about it, who added on to it, that Google also trusts. Okay? So guys, that was a real brief overview on page SEO. Like I said, hit that article down below from Backlinko. Man, those guys did it. That article that they wrote is super comprehensive. We could be here for literally a month covering all of that stuff and we still wouldn't have. But what we did cover today was your title, making sure that every single page has a title and the title is relevant to the content and it makes sense and it will entice a user to click on it in a search result. Then we talked about your heading structure in your content as well and why that is so important. Then we got into your content and keywords, which is the most important part, because you must optimize every single page for exactly one keyword. Hear me on that, one keyword. All right. So as I said before, if you want some more, go read that article down below. If you've got some questions, leave me a comment or send me an email at hello@traffickeys.com. It's a pleasure as always to share with you, and I will see you tomorrow.